Dean Martin was walking to his dressing room at the Sands Hotel on March 3, 1962, when he heard someone crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, desperate sobbing coming from the service corridor where staff took their breaks. Most performers would have kept walking, not their problem, not their business, but Dean stopped, looked down the hallway, saw a young waitress sitting on the floor, back against the wall, face in her hands, shoulders shaking. She was maybe 23 years old, wrinkled, makeup smeared, completely destroyed. Dean could have sent someone to check on her, could have asked security to handle it, could have done what every other star did, pretend he didn't see and move on. Instead, Dean Martin walked over, sat down on the floor next to her and asked, "What's wrong, kid?" What that waitress told him in the next 5 minutes changed her entire life, and what Dean did about it turned a broke single mother working double shifts into a millionaire within 3 years. This isn't a story about charity. This is a story about Dean Martin seeing potential where nobody else did and having the guts to bet on it. The conversation. The waitress looked up when Dean sat down. Her eyes went wide, recognition, shock, then embarrassment. "Mr. Martin, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I should get back to work." "Relax, take a breath. Tell me what happened." "It's nothing, I'm fine." "You're sitting on the floor crying, that's not fine. What's your name?" Linda Crawford." "Okay, Linda, talk to me." She hesitated, then it all came out, fast, like a dam breaking. Linda was 23, single mother, 3-year-old daughter, working 2 jobs, waitress at the Sands during the day, cocktail waitress at the Dunes at night, 6 days a week, 70-hour weeks, barely making rent. Her daughter's father had left when she got pregnant. No child support, no help, just Linda and her little girl against the world. But Linda wasn't just surviving. She was trying to build something. She'd been taking night classes at UNLV, business administration, wanted to open her own restaurant someday, had notebooks full of ideas, recipes, designs, business plans. She'd saved $3,000 over 2 years, every spare dollar, living on rice and beans, skipping meals so her daughter could eat, working until her feet bled because she had a dream. Then, 3 days ago, her car broke down. Transmission, $800 to fix. Money she didn't have. So she took out a loan. High interest, predatory. But what choice did she have? No car meant no job. No job meant no food. This morning, her landlord raised her rent, $50 more a month. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're living paycheck to paycheck, $50 might as well be $5,000. Linda did the math. With the car loan and the rent increase, she'd have to quit school, give up the dream, work more hours just to survive, and her daughter would grow up never seeing her mother because Linda would always be working. "I can handle being poor," Linda said, wiping her eyes. "I've been poor my whole life, but giving up the dream, knowing I'll never be more than this, that's what's killing me." Dean sat there, silent, listening. Then he asked, "What kind of restaurant?" "What?" "Your restaurant idea. What kind of place?" "Italian, family style, like the places my grandmother told me about. Big portions, reasonable prices, the kind of place where working people can afford to celebrate, where families can go for Sunday dinner." "You got recipes?" "Yeah, my grandmother taught me. I've been writing them down, testing them on friends." "You any good?" "I think so. People say I am, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just dreaming too big." Dean stood up, offered his hand. "Come with me." "What? Where?" "My dressing room. I want to see these notebooks." "The review." Linda followed Dean to his dressing room, confused, terrified, convinced she was about to get fired for bothering a star. Dean sat down. "Show me." Linda pulled 3 notebooks from her bag, worn, stained, full of handwritten recipes, sketches, business plans, years of work, years of dreaming. Dean flipped through them, slowly, carefully, reading every page. Linda stood there, wringing her hands, waiting for him to tell her it was stupid, that she should give up, that waitresses don't become restaurant owners. After 20 minutes, Dean looked up. This is good, really good. You're just being nice. I'm not nice. Ask anyone. I'm honest. And honestly, these recipes are solid. Your business plan makes sense. Your cost projections are realistic. You've done the work. But it doesn't matter. I don't have the money. I don't have connections. I'm just a waitress. You're not just anything. You're a woman with a plan and the guts to work for it. Dean pulled out his checkbook. How much do you need? What? To open your restaurant. How much? Linda's hands were shaking. Mr. Martin, I can't. How much? I don't know, 20,000, maybe 25, but I could never pay you back. Dean wrote a check, $30,000, handed it to her. There, seed money. You pay me back when the restaurant turns a profit, 10% of net profits until the debt is cleared. No interest, no timeline, when you can afford it. Linda stared at the check. This is a joke. It's not a joke. Why would you do this? Because I know what it's like to have people bet against you. When I split with Jerry Lewis, everyone said I was done, washed up, that I was nothing without the comedy act. But a few people believed in me, gave me a shot, and I made it. Now I'm returning the favor. But you don't know me. What if I fail? What if I lose all your money? Then you fail, but at least you tried. That's more than most people can say. Dean stood up. But you're not going to fail. You know why? Why? Because you've been working 70-hour weeks, raising a kid alone, taking night classes, and still dreaming. That's not the behavior of someone who quits. That's a fighter. Linda started crying again, but different tears. Relief, hope, gratitude. One condition, Dean said, you name a dish after me. Something Italian, something good. Deal? Linda laughed through her tears. Deal. The restaurant. Linda Crawford opened her restaurant 8 months later, November 1962. Small place, 40 seats, in a working-class neighborhood in North Las Vegas. She called it Nana's. The signature dish was spaghetti a la Dean. Simple, garlic, olive oil, parsley, Romano cheese, listed on the menu as Dean Martin's favorite. Dean came to the opening, brought Frank Sinatra, brought Sammy Davis Jr. The entire Rat Pack showed up. Word spread, press showed up. Suddenly, this little restaurant had lines around the block. But it wasn't just the publicity. The food was legitimately good. Linda could cook. Her portions were huge. Her prices were fair. And she treated every customer like family. Within 6 months, Linda had to expand, doubled the seating, hired more staff. Within a year, she opened a second location, then a third. By 1965, Nana's was a Vegas institution. 5 locations, packed every night. Linda paid Dean back every penny, with 10% profit. Took her 3 years. Dean never asked for the money. Linda insisted. The day she made the final payment, Linda brought Dean a check and a letter. The letter said, Mr. Martin, you didn't just give me money. You gave me a chance. You saw something in me that nobody else saw. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I can never repay that, but I can promise you this. I will do for others what you did for me. I will look for people who are working hard, dreaming big, and need someone to believe in them, and I will help them, because that's what you taught me. Thank you for everything. Love, Linda. Dean kept that letter in his wallet until the day he died. The legacy. Linda Crawford didn't stop at 5 restaurants. By 1975, she had 20 locations across Nevada and California. By 1985, she had 40. She became one of the most successful restaurateurs in the Southwest. But she never forgot where she came from. Every Nana's location had a policy. If an employee had a dream, wanted to go back to school, start a business, learn a trade, Linda would help. She created a fund, started with $100,000, grew it to over $2 million, helped hundreds of people. She called it the Dean Martin Dream Fund. Dean didn't know about it until 1988 when a reporter asked him about it. Linda did that? Yes, sir. She said you inspired it. Said you taught her that successful people have a responsibility to help others succeed. Dean was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I didn't teach her that. She already knew it. I just gave her the chance to prove it. When Dean Martin died in 1995, Linda Crawford was at the funeral. She was 56 years old, worth over $50 million, had helped hundreds of people start businesses, go to college, chase dreams. A reporter asked her about Dean, about that day in 1962 when he found her crying in a hallway. Dean Martin changed my life, but not in the way people think. It wasn't the money. Money helps, but it's not what changed me. It was the fact that he saw me, really saw me. He didn't see a poor waitress. He didn't see a charity case. He saw someone with potential, someone worth betting on. And when someone believes in you like that, it changes how you see yourself. Do you think he knew how successful you'd become? Linda smiled. I think he knew I'd work hard. I think he knew I'd try. That was enough for him. Dean didn't need guarantees. He just needed to see that you were willing to fight for yourself. And if you were, he'd fight with you. The story of Linda Crawford isn't unique. Dean Martin did this dozens of times, maybe hundreds. Gave money to struggling musicians, paid for employees' medical bills, helped people start businesses, sent kids to college. He never talked about it, never sought credit, never made a big public show. He just helped, quietly, privately, because that's who he was. When reporters asked about his philanthropy, Dean would shrug it off. I got lucky, made some money, might as well share it with people who need it more than I do. But it wasn't about sharing money. It was about sharing opportunity, about seeing potential where others saw problems, about betting on people when everyone else bet against them. Linda Crawford was a broke waitress crying in a hallway. Most people would have walked past. Dean Martin sat down, listened, and changed her life. That's not charity. That's recognition. That's respect. That's Dean Martin seeing someone working 70 hours a week, raising a kid alone, taking night classes, and thinking, that's a fighter. That's someone worth backing. And he was right. The story of Dean Martin and Linda Crawford teaches something important. Success isn't about luck. It's about someone giving you a shot. And when you get that shot, you work harder than everyone else to prove they were right to believe in you. Linda didn't just take Dean's money and hope for the best. She worked. She executed. She turned $30,000 into $50 million because she understood that Dean wasn't giving her money. He was giving her a chance. And chances are precious. Dean understood that too. He knew what it was like to be counted out, to have people say you're nothing without your partner, that you can't make it alone. He proved them wrong. And once he made it, he spent the rest of his life giving others the same opportunity. That's the Dean Martin story that matters. Not the martinis, not the cool persona, not the Vegas shows. The man who saw a waitress crying in a hallway and thought, I can help, and did. If you're successful, look for the people working hard in the shadows, the ones nobody notices, the ones grinding every day with a dream and no resources. Find them, help them, not with pity, with opportunity, because that's not charity, that's investment. That's seeing potential. That's what Dean Martin did. And it's the reason a waitress named Linda Crawford became a millionaire who helped hundreds of others do the same. That's legacy. That's character. That's Dean Martin.